What a beautiful morning. I love these rest areas here in Montana. I'd rather stop here than at a truck stop any day. Yeah, I always choose the rest areas over the truck stops. They're just cleaner, just a better option, quieter. I'm not a huge coffee drinker in the morning, but once in a while, like a morning like this, I like to make myself a Keurig. I use the top of this bunk here for storage. I just slant up the top bunk a bit and I put a couple rocks underneath, and it just puts it on a bit of a slant, so if you have to hit the brakes, everything doesn't come right off. So I got my clothes up there. I got my some of my dishes, some paper plates, and yeah, makes a good storage area. Let's see what the coffee tastes like. Now, well, that's not a perfect cup of coffee. I think if I put half the water in here, it would be. But it's still good coffee. Still good coffee. So I take one of these multivitamins. Some people take 2 of them a day. I probably could do it. But I've been actually relatively well. I haven't had a cold in over a year. Well, actually, I had a little cold last year, but wasn't anything major. I take 2 vitamin C tablets. I'm not a huge eater in the morning. I'm not one of these type of guys that goes and has to hit a truck stop and have bacon and eggs first thing in the morning. I'm not a big eater in the morning. I like to eat light in the morning, and some say, well, breakfast is the best part of your day. Sure is. I have a nice, beautiful apple there. And for my fiber, and not everybody will do this, organic carrots. So I put those aside and nibble on those while I'm get the munchies, because I don't get hungry right away. Because those are pretty well the only 2 things you can bring across the border without getting harassed. You can't bring grapefruit or anything over the border. Which I wish you could, because grapefruit is a great thing to have first thing in the morning, and it's so refreshing when you first wake up. I mean, I can come over the border, hit a Walmart and buy some, but after I'm done with the trip that I'm doing here, they'll probably send me up to Canada and then maybe back down again, and then I'll have to throw everything out. I remember one time I bought some grapefruit when I was in Post Falls, Idaho. I had to cross over the border into Canada to do a switch with another driver. So I went across the border at Kingsgate, grabbed the trailer I was supposed to grab in Cranbrook, came back, and the border guard made me throw all of them out. And I went, well, I just bought these in Post Falls, Idaho, this bag of grapefruit. He says, doesn't matter. Boom, into the garbage can it went. I went, wow. When I go to Walmart, I get as many of these bags as I can because they make great garbage bags.
Gonna check all my lights, make sure everything is good. Got an ABS light though. I gotta put that on my pre-trip this morning, that the ABS light's coming on the trailer. It's not a big deal, but as long as I get it looked at right away when I get back. And I always put a lock on my trailer at night, even though I have a high security seal on there. You can never have too much security. There you go. These are nice locks too. These are like the Master Pro Series. They're really nice locks. Made sure nobody's broken the seal. All right, lights look good. I just do obvious checks to see if anything's leaking. Coolant's fine. Oil levels are going to be fine because I checked it the other day. I checked the belts, make sure they're good, which they are. And anything that's visible that might not look normal. Everything looks good. Besides, I had a level 2 inspection yesterday in Washington State. So I know everything's good. All right, reefer looks good, no codes. I always look under my truck, trailer, APU unit, just to make sure nothing's been leaking and everything looks okay.
I find it absolutely necessary to get into the Word of God in the morning, sometimes in the evening, depending on how I feel, because of the way life is out here on the road. It can be a little lonely, and sometimes, and the Word of God comforts me. It strengthens me. And as being a Christian, this is something we should be reading every single day. There isn't one day that should go by that we're not reading some of the Word of God. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bring forth its fruit in its season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Dear Lord, I just thank you for this morning. Thank you for another day. Thank you for another day to be out here in this amazing creation of yours. Lord, I pray that you would keep me safe on the road, as well as the other truck drivers and four-wheelers. And would you protect the animals from my truck today, Lord? And you know I never like to hit animals. And would you bless my family, take care of my family, my granddaughters, Autumn and Abby, my son and daughter, Jeremiah and Kariana, my dear mother, my sisters, and those very special people in my life, like Scott, Kristen, Sean, my dear friend Barry, my friend Philip, and dear Lord, be with Jamie as well, my other friend who I talk to. And Lord, there's so many others, my friend Kevin, and I hate to leave anybody out, but Lord, you know who they are. They're very special people on my heart. And Lord, would you please bless my Aunt Anne out in Langley, BC. And of course, my good friend Glenn and Shirley, his wife. And thank you, Lord, for these people. These people mean a lot to me. And I just thank you. Would you bless them and keep them safe today? And would you also bless this company? This company's been good to me. Would you bless iHaul, Lord, with good work, good employees, and safe drivers? And keep them safe on the road. And may everything I do today bring you glory, Lord. In the name of Yeshua, I pray, amen. I got to make a stop up here in Billings, which is about, I think, 7 miles up the road, just to top up all my fuel, my DEF. And then we should be able to put in about 600 miles, 700 miles today, I hope. That would be good. Such beautiful countryside out here, isn't it? Absolutely love it. Some of the most beautiful countryside you're going to find right here on the 90. And fortunately, with the trip that I'm doing right now, I'm going to be going right across the country. But today, I haven't figured out how far I'm going to get yet, because normally what I do, I will drive up to my 30-minute break, which we are required to take within that 8-hour period. I think the regulations have changed a little bit, but I still do it anyway. And then from there I calculate how many hours I got left, how far am I going to get. I plan my route where I'm going to stop. So, but I don't do that until I take my 30-minute break. What a weird looking machine that is. I don't know what that is. Just gonna stop at this Flying J up here and top up my fuel and my DEF. Our company fills up at Flying J. I do believe we have an option of the TA as well and Petro, but I like to use the Flying J because they're a point system I really like. For example, right now I can make up to 3 cents every time, a gallon every time I fill up. And after I fill up here, I'll have 4 cents. And those are really handy because at the end of the day, when you've maxed out your points, what you can get, you can make up to almost $6 every single time you fill up, and that's awesome. That goes a long way, especially when you need, you need parking, you want to pay for parking, or just some other things that you might need. It's very, very handy. I like that system. It's very nice. Oh, what a beautiful, gorgeous day it is out here today. Just absolutely stunning. You know what? I really don't think I've ever stopped at this particular Flying J before. Or Town Pump, Flying J, whatever you want to call it. Oh, there's one of our drivers right there. Deaf is in every lane. Now I like that. That's good. Just a gorgeous day today. Okay, I'm all ready to go. Topped up our fuel, our DEF. I had an issue with this DEF pump. I mean, some of these DEF pumps are so annoying because the actual nozzle that goes into the hole is not much bigger than the hole. There's no air for it to flow, so it always shuts itself off all the time if you press it all the way. So you literally have to hold it like a millimeter past the part where it's releasing the fluid, and it takes forever. A lot of the DEF pumps are like that. Yeah, tests your patience, I'll tell you that. Okay. We are good to go now. We have lots of fuel, we have plenty of DEF, and plenty of sunshine, just the way I like it. I've been truck driving now for, it's almost been 10 years, not very long. Yeah, since 2012. And funny thing about truck driving is you know right away whether or not it's for you. You know whether or not it's in your blood, as they like to say. Because I drove for a little while when I first started, and then I decided to come off the road there was a relationship that I was in, and then that relationship didn't work out right away. I wanted to get back out on the highway again, and I realized that this was something I wanted to do all the time. And I just enjoy the travel. I enjoy the scenery, meeting new people. Enjoy the vehicles, the trucks, just being a part of that. Living out of my truck, because that's basically what I do, is I live out of my truck. And maybe I will go home to a mailing address every month or two and just kind of get out of the truck. Sometimes you got to get out of the truck, and if I don't have the option to get out of the truck by going home, there will be times where I'll rent a hotel and just stay in there for my 36-hour reset, order pizza, whatever, just get away from the truck. But it is something that I really do enjoy, and it's just nice. And I also have the opportunity to do what I love to do, and I love to share the gospel. And what a better way to do it than by showing God's beautiful creation at the same time. There's supposed to be a truck stop over here, like a coffee cup. I am hungry. I gotta get some food in me. I'm really hungry this morning for some reason. Yeah, sometimes you get extra hungry. Today is one of those days. So there's a truck stop over there. I figured I might as well just do my 30-minute break at the same time. Might as well. Yeah, this is a really dusty place, but I am grateful that there's a place to stop. And you know what? That is another thing that when you do find places to park, it is a privilege, because it's sometimes really hard to come by. I was gonna have myself something light, but you know what? I've changed my mind. I'm gonna have a couple. Good for your teeth. I think 5 minutes would be good for that. They're wraps, and they just have a little bit of meat sauce in the middle of them, so it's better than, I think it's better than eating sandwiches. Yeah, so sometimes I will maybe munch on a can of sardines. It all depends how hungry I am. You get 17 grams of protein out of that. And some people may not like sardines, but I do like them. They're good. Or a can of tuna. excuse me, get some good protein in you. But the burritos, I think, is the way to go today. Yeah, so once I get my 30 done, I'll get 6 hours and 25 minutes left, and that's gonna take me, oh, why don't we find out right now? So 360, 360, 360, there's, oh, that's one there, but that's on the other side. That's not gonna help me, so let's say this one. And that is going to be 5 hours and 52 minutes. So that'll be that one may not be too bad. So I may check that one out there. But that doesn't seem like much of a rest area there. And that's in South Dakota. So let's quickly look at the truck stop options here. And because we're going so far and we have so many miles that we're dealing with here, it takes a little bit longer for this thing to pop up the results for the truck stops. All right, so 360. So we got a few options here. Here's another Coffee Cop fuel stop here. I don't know how many parking spots are there, but this one is in Plankinton, South Dakota, and that one is 6 hours away, so that's not too bad, but I still have an extra 25 minutes there. And then we have the I-90 Travel Center. Let's see what that one is. 6 hours and 25 minutes. So, I mean, I'm gonna have my options. That's in Mitchell, South Dakota. But this thing doesn't have a listing of all the places you can stop. But I'm ahead of schedule anyway. I have a lot of time on my hands, so I don't have to exactly drive this 6 hours if I don't need to. I still have 30 hours of driving to do, and I've got almost, well, 4.5 days to do it, so I'm fine. So these are probably really hot. I don't get to eat those right away, so I usually just put those there. And my little carousel, I wrap it in a towel, because if you don't, while you're going down the road, it'll just rattle, shake, rattle, and roll. And there's enough shake, rattling, and rolling going on in this Freightliner. So there you go. All right, our DOT break is over, and we making sure our wallet's here. You never know. I think a trucker's biggest nightmare would be to lose his wallet. You're not just losing your wallet, you're losing everything. Your driver's license. Ugh. I've done that a couple times where I've left my wallet. Come on, truck, you're not that heavy. I've left my wallet in a store, Walmart, and I realize, where is it? End up running back, and Lord willing, I found it. Oh man, I'll tell you something. That is a scary feeling when you lose your wallet and you don't know where it is. Everything stops. Everything stops. You can't just go to the DMV the next day and get your license. Get a new renewal. Credit cards, bank cards, your license to be able to drive, to do your job. Nightmare. You probably could get a temporary one sent to you, I'm sure, but still, I wouldn't want to have to deal with that. Yeah, it's warm out here today. We're gonna turn on the air conditioning. It is a warm one indeed. Well, I just received a bypass on my ELD to bypass the scale, but the signs outside, like the signs that come up that when you approach the scale, said truck must exit or truck must go over scale. So I need to find out from these guys whether or not I ignore that when I get a bypass on my ELD, because my ELD gave me a bypass. So I'm just gonna go over the scale and I'll ask them. I'm pretty sure he's gonna say, yeah, you can if you get a bypass, you can bypass it. So let's go find out. All right. Well, nice guys in there. You know, a lot of the DOT guys are really nice. If you treat them good, they treat you good. Okay, so how it works. When you drive over the weigh in motion, the little scales weigh you and they will get you to pull in. It'll say, please exit scale. But if you get a bypass on your ELD or your other little device, which I have, I am allowed to bypass the scale. So I did receive a bypass, so I don't have to go over the scale. So now I know, because this has happened to me twice, and I did not want to run the scale. In the event, it still wanted me to go over the scale because I just didn't know. Sometimes I get a red on that one and I get a green on this one, or a green on this one and a red on that one. So I don't know. I'm assuming this is the one I should be paying attention to. So there you go, there you have it. I know now that when I get a bypass, even though it says exit, I can still keep going. Oh, let's go. They have a coffee cup fuel stop in Blankenton, South Dakota, and I have decided I am gonna stop there. It's only 30 minutes from here, and they have a paved parking lot. A couple other places I was checking out, I gave them a phone call and they have a dirt lot. And I don't like the dirt lots because I got enough dust in my truck, and you got another truck that's idling next to you and his air is released on his brakes or his air dryer, and just psh, and you you got dust everywhere and you can't have your windows open, and I'd rather go. And Coffee Cup, it generally has a pretty decent, they usually have a pretty decent truck stop. So that's where I'm gonna go. That's where I'm gonna go. That's what I'm gonna do. That's right. So it'll get me about 30 minutes closer to where I'm going. And it looks like this system here is moving north. I don't think it's gonna affect me at all. We are officially in the Eastern time zone now. Well, we have been for at least an hour and a half, maybe even a couple hours. It's been a while, I guess. And Plankerton is the place where we're going to is straight ahead there. But you know what? Today's been a good drive. A little bit of rain, mostly sunshine. It's been actually really, really nice. Yeah, some days are exciting, some days are a little boring, some are in between. Didn't have a whole lot of exciting stuff that happened today. But the day is not over yet. It is not over yet. And apparently there's a lot of parking here, so we will see. And it's a paved parking lot, as I said. And it's a little on the windy side too. And I don't mind that because I like to open up my sleeper windows and I love to have that breeze coming in. Yeah, it's nice. Oh, my windows are just covered in bugs. Well, I can clearly see just from looking at this. Yeah, I have been to this place before. I have indeed. Yeah. They got a lot of parking here. They have a lot of parking here. Plenty of parking. And I see a little spot that I would like. Look at all these nice little spots right in front here. Well, one of them just disappeared. Grain hauler took it. parking too close to guys because I have a reefer on here and I have my APU unit. You know what? You know what I think I'm gonna do? I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna park on this other end of this parking lot simply because my reefer and my APU unit squeals a little bit when it fires up, and it's incredibly annoying for me, and I can only imagine what it would be like for somebody else sleeping right next to my trailer or my truck. So this is, I'm gonna do this to be courteous. So if I'm right at the end of the parking lot like so, my APU is on that side, I won't be bugging anybody. I know I would appreciate it if somebody did that for me, but I gotta get them to look at this APU of mine and find out why it's squealing. I think it just needs a service. So that's what we will do. Alright, we're gonna go into post mode here and do our post trip. I don't do a long one, I only do about 5 minutes, but it gives me an opportunity. This thing is gonna work for me. Come on. Sometimes this thing acts up. There we go. And I should still have on here for my trailer right here, which is other, and then I wrote in there ABS. So I just usually walk around, thump my tires, make sure nothing's leaking, and we should be good. And then I put my lock on the back of my trailer, so I know that everything is secure. All right. And I should have plenty of fuel in there. Yep. Everything looks okay. Chances of someone breaking into the trailer are probably really slim, but why take a chance, right? What do they got here? Sure looks good though, doesn't it? Oh well. I won't eat it all today, but I don't do this all the time. Yeah, I'm fine. I just didn't want him to wear this. That's okay.
How's it going?
Good, how are you doing?
I'd say pretty good. 1826.
You guys have tap on here?
No, that's insert.
Okay. So normally, I'll just set up my laptop here, and that way I can work on a video or do whatever I wish to do. Or I just watch a little video on my laptop. While I have dinner. Well, I just finished my dinner, pepperoni and cheese pizza. It's very good stuff, very good stuff.
Well, this is it for me today. From here, I am just going to clean myself up and then hit the hay and get an early start for tomorrow morning. Yeah, this is a good little truck stop, this coffee cup fuel stop. Nice clean parking lot, very friendly people inside. It was a good choice, I think. Well, my friends, there you have it. A day in the life of a truck driver. Sometimes it's very, very simple. And some might think it's not all that exciting, but you know what? It all depends on the weather conditions. It all depends on your mindset. But today was a pretty good day for driving. Not too many issues. I didn't have to deal with very much for wind. And I got a good parking spot at a nice truck stop. So today was a success. And I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit of an inside look on a full day with a truck driver. Well, why don't I say goodnight to you, because I'm going to hit the hay. God bless you all in the name of Yeshua. Until next time, bye for now.